Hey there, guys. How are you? Hope you all had a great Christmas because I personally didn't. But anyways, with everyone doing their top 10 best and worst movie of the year list, I thought why not I do something a little different and give you guys my most anticipated movies of 2019. And I am going to be doing this in a podcast form. And yeah, I mean, it's nice to be doing voiceovers because that's how I initially started my channel with voiceovers. And yeah, this is sort of my first ever podcast. Welcome, one and all. And so I'm just going to be giving you guys some of my most anticipated movies, and these are not in like particular orders. I just arranged them based on the months that they are coming out. And so yeah, and basically my list has like 11 movies on them, and I know there's like a whole lot more of like awesome movies, but yeah, I sort of condensed them to just 11. I wanted to put 10, but then there were just there was just one extra film, that had to be in the list. So yeah. Right, so I'm going to be starting off, and these are basically like arranged in the months that they are coming out. So yeah, in first place, I mean not in first place, I mean my first most anticipated movie is Glass, which is coming out in January. And with January, I'm sort of afraid of that month, when it comes to movies, because it's not the greatest month for movies. No, technically it's the worst month for movies, and yeah, I think Glass is definitely going to be the standout film, and this looks like a really really solid film. And in my trailer reaction, I actually said that this could be my favorite superhero film of 2019, and generally one of my favorite films. And that's how much of an expectation I have for this film. And with M Night Shyamalan, he's a bit inconsistent, but he has produced some excellent films, and I think this might be his best, in my opinion, because the trailers looked impressive. And we have James McAvoy, Bruce Willis, Samuel L. Jackson, all A-list actors. They've all had their own movies. Of course, with Bruce Willis in Unbreakable, and James McAvoy with an outstanding performance in Split. And I know a lot of people, sort of had their minor issues with that movie, but especially with the third act, because I remember when I went into it, I liked the first two acts. I thought they were excellent, and then when it came to the third act, I was sort of, what's going on here? How we see transform into a beast? And then towards the end we see Bruce Willis, and then obviously it all ties in with this being a superhero film. And so yeah, Glass is definitely one to look out for. I think it's going to be the best movie of January, definitely, unless something takes me by surprise. But yeah, so in January it's Glass, and then coming up next is Captain Marvel. Now, before I go on with my list, just a fair warning that there's gonna be a lot of superhero films in this list, but you know what? I'm not even gonna deny it. I'm a huge superhero movie fan, and yeah, you can consider me to be a fanboy, but let's be honest, superhero movies today have gone up to a whole nother level. They're actually made with attention to detail, and it's not just the entertainment value these days. I mean, back in the day, technicality was like sort of ignored when it came to these movies. Sure, there were some great films, especially the Dark Knight trilogy, but most of them during that time wasn't all that excellent as a general movie. But these days, they're actually made to be great movies, not just entertaining superhero films, but technically they're excellently made. And they are with that being said, number two is of course Captain Marvel. I mean, what else needs to be said? The first trailer. Oh, sorry, lost my words there. The first trailer was great, but I purposely skipped the second trailer. And if you notice on my channel, I obviously didn't do a reaction because I purposely ignored that trailer, because I want to know as little as possible before I go into this film. And of course, all over the internet, I've been seeing Captain Marvel in this sort of super saiyan form. It looks cool. I think the trailer was awesome, but I'm just gonna skip that one. I'm just gonna go into it with knowing as little as possible. And yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? Freaking Captain Marvel is definitely going to be on my list. And in number three is Shazam. And I'm still a bit iffy about the DC. I'm still a little bit iffy about the DC universe, even after the success of Aquaman. It's not a perfect movie, Aquaman. It's entertaining as hell. James Wan, he stuffed in like a whole bunch of films into just one, and it was just balls out fun. And with Shazam, I expect the same thing. I know it's not going to be a technically great film, but judging by the trailers, it looked funny. There's going to be humor. Looks like a pretty small scale story. I'm hoping it's not this huge story where they just try to put in a bunch of things and convolute it with subplots and crap like that. No. I just want a simple story. Make it as great as possible, and then we can see. DC can see where they're going in the future with the extended universe and all that stuff, right? And with Shazam, I can't remember the actor's name, but hold on, let me just look it up. That would be my clacking of the keyboard. Yeah, so Shazam is going to be directed by David Sandberg and stars Zachary Levi. And I was impressed by the trailers. It looked funny, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. And once again, this is another comic book movie. And so at number 4 is of course okay, fine. This is my most anticipated movie of 2019. You guys know what it is. I probably don't even have to say it, but Avengers Endgame. I mean, oh god, what is there to say, man? I mean, the director Anthony and Joe Russo even said that it might be 3 hours long, and I'm like, what? Only 3 hours? Give us more. I want more. This is gonna be our final Avengers film. I don't mind if it's 5 hours long, right? I'll happily bring a bottle in so I can, just pee in the theaters without having to go out and miss a single second of the final Avengers, right? I mean, it's gonna be it's gonna be exciting, it's gonna be emotional, and wow, oh man, 10 years in the making, and we finally reached the end. I mean, everything good comes to an end, and Avengers Endgame, I cannot wait for this. I'm definitely going on the first day IMAX. Oh man, I'm just getting goosebumps thinking about it. And sorry guys, I'm just fanboying over here. Alright, so enough said about that. Definitely one of my most anticipated movies, and I think it might be yours as well. If it is, let me know in the comments. And by the way, just let me know your personal list of your most anticipated movies of 2019. I'm pretty sure most of you are putting Avengers Endgame at the top of your list, but yeah, just let me know, right? And at number 5 is Godzilla King of the Monsters. Alright, so I might be in the minority when I say that I enjoyed the first Godzilla, even though it had a lack of Godzilla. And the fact that they killed freaking Bryan Cranston. Oh my god, they killed off Heisenberg. Wow, he was definitely one of the characters that I thought was going to carry the film, but instead they made Aaron Taylor Johnson as the lead, and that sort of pissed me off. And but overall, technically, it was one of the most well-made movies of the year, and I actually enjoyed it despite it had a lack of Godzilla. And with Godzilla King of the Monsters, I think they sort of learned from their mistakes. They're not going to focus on the characters or stuff like that, right? No. Let's just chuck the characters to the side. Yes, they are important, but this time we're going to put in a whole bunch of monsters, and I think it's going to be some amazing action. And just based on the trailers, wow, the visuals look absolutely stunning. I mean, we have Godzilla, we have Rodan, we have Ghidorah, we have Mothra, and we don't exactly know if any of them will be teaming up with each other. And what I'm really hoping for is for Kong to show up, because towards the end of Kong we did get that sort of end credits, and I'm just wondering why Kong isn't in the trailers. Maybe they're saving it just to surprise us. If they are, yes, that's awesome. That's a good job by the people marketing this movie, not to be putting in Kong. And I would love a great surprise. And I just cannot wait for Godzilla to take on these monsters. I think it's gonna be freaking entertaining, and I think it just might, if they do it right, it might be one of the greatest movies of 2019 in my opinion. So coming up next is X-Men Dark Phoenix. Once again, this is a superhero film, and I'll be honest with you guys, I am the biggest X-Men fan. I mean, I grew up with these films. I love every single one of them except X-Men Origins. That's the probably the only disposable one, and I also enjoyed the Wolverine. I thought it was a great film, except the third act where it kind of went a little off the tracks to what all of us was expecting. But generally, I loved all the X-Men films, and yeah, I know X-Men: The Last Stand wasn't it wasn't a great film, right? But I'll be honest, it's one of my guilty pleasures, and maybe it's because as a kid I sort of owned the DVD and I would watch it every single day. One of my favorite films, and I don't know. I know it's not a great film, but it's one of my guilty pleasures. And generally, I love the X-Men universe. Logan is one of my all-time favorite films, and yeah, even though X-Men Dark Phoenix went through reshoots and stuff like that, I think it's gonna be a pretty good film. And despite some of the negative feedback and some of the fans complaining it's similar to The Last Stand, or people complaining about the reshoots and stuff like that, saying it's because it's a terrible film so they had to do a bunch of reshoots and stuff like that, I don't know, I still have high hopes for it. And yeah, it's still definitely one of my most anticipated movies of 2019. And you know what, Sophie Turner is a great actor, and I think she's gonna nail her part as Jean Grey, and even Jessica Chastain is in it. And so yeah, definitely looking forward to it. So at number 7 is Toy Story 4. Now, Toy Story, one of my favorite trilogies of all time, and I've said this a bunch of times. Toy Story 2 is, I think, one of my favorite animated movies of all time. And I really wanted to do a reaction to the Toy Story 4 trailer, but yeah, there was nothing to react to. But anyways, Toy Story 4 is pretty much an unnecessary film. The way it wrapped up in the third installment was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. It was so emotionally resonating, and when they announced they was doing Toy Story 4, I was like, it's not needed. It's not really essential. I mean, you guys can use your ideas to come up with something original. I don't know. I mean, it's unnecessary, but I still think it's gonna be good. Tom Hanks has said this is the most emotional one, and yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they're gonna do with the story. And despite wrapping things up perfectly in the third installment, I think with Pixar being the best animation studios out there, I think they're gonna produce another fantastic film. And to be honest, Toy Story is probably their best franchise in the Pixar. And so yeah, I think they're gonna do a great job with Toy Story 4. I have high hopes for it, and definitely looking forward to it. So at number 8 is Spider-Man Far From Home. Yes, once again, it's another superhero film, but what can I say? I enjoyed Spider-Man Homecoming. Not the best Spider-Man film. To me, my favorite would be Spider-Man 2, and then below it, believe it or not, is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, one of those films that definitely took me by surprise. But yeah, Spider-Man is definitely one of those films, once again, that I grew up with. Spider-Man 2, I remember I owned the VCD. Yes, the VCD, because back in the day, DVDs were a little too expensive, so we just settled for the VCD. And yeah, that would be my go-to film every single day. When I came home from school, I would just pop it in. And then I still remember to this day that I had to change the VCDs during the part where the it was during the halfway point where Peter Parker gave up on being Spider-Man, and then we had that cheesy oh man, that music would start playing, and then it would be the freeze frame shot, and then yeah, that would be the point where I had to change the VCDs. But anyways, I'm totally going off the rails here. But yeah, Spider-Man Far From Home. Tom Holland, in my opinion, is the best Spider-Man. But then again, I actually love all three portrayals of Spider-Man, and even Andrew Garfield. I thought he was great. I don't know why people hate on him. Yeah, I mean, Andrew Garfield, as you all know, was a huge fan of the actual Spider-Man character, and for what he was given, he gave a great performance, and I still don't get the hate for him. And as you all know, Tobey Maguire is excellent. I mean, nothing else to say, but in my opinion, Tom Holland is Spider-Man. I mean, he's just a kid. You actually feel for him, and in Avengers Infinity War when, he separated. Man, that got me because he was just this scared little kid, this friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And I actually buy into him as being Spider-Man. And that's the best part about Tom Holland's portrayal of this character. And with Spider-Man Homecoming, I mean, technically, yes, it was a great film. Was it perfect? No, of course not. But it was such an enjoyable movie. We were introduced to new characters. We got a younger Aunt May. Tony Stark was, of course, part of this universe. Now, why I'm particularly excited about Spider-Man Far From Home is because my favorite actor, Jake Gyllenhaal, is going to be playing Mysterio. And wow, I mean, finally, this guy is in an MCU movie. I mean, as you all know, MCU has casted incredible actors, right? I mean, when you see these guys in their roles, like Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, it's like, I mean, who else can play this guy? And with Jake Gyllenhaal being, an acclaimed actor, and to me, my favorite actor, I think he's one of the greatest actors of our time. And to be playing a villain in the MCU, wow. I mean, yes, please, yes. I mean, sign me up. I'm down for this. Let's do this. I cannot wait for this film to come out. And I mean, call me a fanboy or whatever, but I think Spider-Man Far From Home could possibly be the best Spider-Man film. I know, I might be having too high of an expectation, but come on. My favorite Spider-Man, Tom Holland, and Jake Gyllenhaal as the villain in a single film. Yes, please. Alright, so at number 9 is It Chapter 2. And look, I know most of you didn't quite enjoy the first installment. You all had a lot of complaints. But to me, I thought it was a great film. Saw it twice in theaters. So yeah, It Chapter 2 is going to be starring Jessica Chastain, James McAvoy, Bill Skarsgård, once again as Pennywise. And if I'm not mistaken, Tom Hiddleston is going to be in it. If I'm not mistaken, that is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like a great cast. I think it's gonna be a great movie. Is it gonna be a perfection Oscar-worthy film? I don't think so, but I think it's gonna be fun. So at number 10 is Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix, and if they manage to do this right, I think it could be DC's greatest film. And you know what? It's the Joker. Come on, who's not excited for this? And Joaquin Phoenix looks like he pretty much looks like he's comfortable with this role, and yeah, I think he's gonna nail it. I'm calling it right now. He's gonna nail it as the Joker. Is he gonna be as good as Heath Ledger? I don't know. We can't really say. I mean, Heath Ledger gave a performance of a lifetime. I don't know if anyone's gonna top it, but Joaquin Phoenix, based on the clips we've all seen, he looks good. I have high hopes for this. And despite me not being all that hopeful of DC, still definitely excited for this. It's a comic book movie once again. And I know, this list is filled with comic book movies. Yes, I'm a fanboy. Who cares, right? I mean, it's the freaking Joker. Who's not excited for this? Yeah. So definitely one of my most anticipated movies of 2019. Directed by Todd Phillips and stars Joaquin Phoenix, Robert De Niro, Zazie Beetz, Mark Maron, and Brian Callen. So yeah, definitely looking forward to this. Alright, at number 11, and I really didn't know if I wanted to put this in, but Star Wars Episode 9. Look, I'm a huge fan of Star Wars, the originals, some of the greatest films ever made. And I'll be honest, with Star Wars Episode 3, I think it's a good movie. I know. Technically, all the acting, the dialogue, all that George Lucas stuff, not that great. But the story itself, I enjoyed it, right? And of course, the Episode 1 and 2, disposable, terrible. But yeah, with Episode 3, I think it's a great story. It's actually one of my favorite Star Wars films. I think I would rank it above Solo, and maybe even above The Last Jedi. I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough call, but yeah, even though I was really, really disappointed by The Last Jedi, and that was the film that essentially made me lose all hope in the upcoming Star Wars films. I did not enjoy Solo, a Star Wars story. I thought it was such a mediocre and average film. It's a movie that we didn't need. And what I really want, and what a lot of people want, was of course the Obi-Wan Kenobi film. Don't know if we're gonna get that because obviously Solo bombed at the box office. And yeah, with episode 9, I mean, Ryan Johnson took such a great story in episode 7 and he just chucked that out the window. And I really don't know what to expect from episode 9, but come on, it's a Star Wars film. I can't lie to you or myself that, I'm not excited for this. And I really, really hope they, fix this universe. I don't know, guys. Are you guys excited for episode 9? Because I can't deny it. I am excited. It's a Star Wars film, for God's sake. I mean, I know we're getting one every single year now, but yeah, I enjoyed The Force Awakens. Rogue One was a surprise. I mean, the more I watch it, even more I enjoy it. And I really hope Ryan Johnson can fix the mess that he created in The Last Jedi. I mean, don't get me wrong. On a technical standpoint, one of the best looking Star Wars movies. No. It's the best looking Star Wars movie. Of course, it's all well acted, good looking, but the sort of characters, with Luke Skywalker, I thought he sort of messed up Luke's character, and, with Rey's parents and all that stuff. God, why Ryan Johnson? Why? But you know what? I'm still going to be, going to the screening of episode 9. I'm going to be supporting it, and I'm really, really hoping that Ryan Johnson can fix episode 9, sort of bring back the magic that Star Wars used to have. And yeah, I mean, then again, it's tough to make a perfect Star Wars film. We have such a divided fan base. Some people absolutely hate where Disney took Star Wars. Some people love where Disney took Star Wars. But with me, I'm sort of in the middle. I mean, I sort of hate some things with where Disney took it, and I sort of like some things about it. And with episode 9, I hope it has that perfect mashup that would satisfy every single one of us, Star Wars fans, as well as the general audience members. And yeah, Star Wars is my 11th most anticipated movie of 2019. And once again, this list isn't in any particular order. It's just based on the months that these films are going to come out. And yeah, those are my most anticipated films. I'm just going to remind you guys what it is. Number 1 is Glass, Captain Marvel, Shazam, Avengers Endgame, Godzilla King of the Monsters, X-Men Dark Phoenix, Toy Story 4, Spider-Man Far From Home, It Chapter 2, Joker, and Star Wars Episode 9. So that was my list, and what I want you guys to do is comment your personal list of your most anticipated movies of 2019. It can be however long you want. Just put it down in the comment section, and yeah, we can have a nice fun little discussion on all these films. In the future, hopefully I can get someone to join me on my podcast and stuff like that. It can be a little more fun. And yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao.